The angels now on earth teach humans various forbidden knowledge and crafts, which lead to warfare, sorcery, and all other sins. Now this angel and human union produced this hybrid offspring called the Nephilims, who are the giants that bring pretty much havoc on this earth and actually consume the humans alive, leading to widespread despair.
So he knew that the Messiah, the Savior, the Redeemer of man would come through the woman, so the plan was hatched to destroy the bloodline. Not just to make the seed unrighteous. Listen, but to taint the bloodline with demon DNA. That's why you're getting prepared for aliens and all this stuff. Don't think all this superhero stuff, because the Nephilim were called heroes. They were called the men of renown, the men of old. This is where all the Greek gods came from. The Greek gods were not just mythical people. They were people of the Nephilim, the giants.
The Book of Enoch explained a group of mysterious creatures that fallen angels created. Today, that's what we'll be covering in the Book of Enoch. You see, the Nephilim giants are not the only hybrid beings that were created. There were also mysterious crossbreeds between animals and humans. Let me explain. The Book of Enoch mentions how the 200 Watchers experimented on humans and animals to create monstrous hybrid beings. The book reads, the 200 angels choose animals on which to perform unnatural acts, including presumably humans. 200 donkeys, 200 rams, 200 goats, 200 beasts. From every animal, from every bird, from miscegenation. The outcome of the demonic corruption was violence, perversion, and a brood of monstrous beings. They defiled, they begot giants and monsters. Now, as we can see, the Book of Enoch referred to giants and monsters, meaning there were several different hybrids.
Now, one of y'all ladies out here is sleeping around with a Nephilim. Yeah, you sleeping around with a Nephilim. He walking out of doors and he beaming them up like sky. They turn into a star. You are sleeping with a Nephilim. That means your child is non-human. You have a non-human child.
I'm pretty sure these salt mines are dead giants. Y'all cannot tell me these salt mines are not dead giants. Bruh, this looks like chunks of meat. Man. Are y'all kidding?
Wow, this is like the perfect example right here. This right here is like the upper skin, and then we've got like the fat, and then we've got like the full meat, like the muscle part in here. And no wonder it tastes salty, man, because this is what Himalayan salt is all about. We're probably consuming the giants in the name of salt.
Me right now. This looks like bacon or pork chops.
Exactly.
This is salt from the mine. This looks like blood. Look at it. Look. This looks like the inside of a body.
Every year, to this day, they still have a parade, it still takes place even today, where they march these two giant statues through the streets of the UK. It's called the Lord Mayor Parade. The Lord Mayor Parade was founded by King John Lackland, the signer of the Magna Carta, who, by the way, all of our presidents just so happen to be related to. Just a coincidence, right? I mean, what would the statistical odds be if we have presidents of the people, for the people, by the people, like we are all taught and brainwashed to believe, that they would all be related, not just to each other, but to the guy who created the Nephilim parade that they still have every year. Call me crazy, but I don't think your votes matter. That's another lecture that deals with deception. You want to decode deception? There's a little piece of it for you right there.
Did you know the Bible doesn't talk about mermaids? But there is a banned book that does. The Book of Enoch reveals that mermaids were once human women, cursed by God for having relations with fallen angels. This book was not banned because it was dangerous. It was banned because it was real. Hidden from the world for centuries, it holds secrets about fallen angels, strange creatures, and ancient truths they did not want you to see. Click the orange cart below to get your copy and read it yourself before they take down this video.
We have just found what is known to be the biblical trees that existed before the Great Flood. And these are the trees that God intended to cut it down so that the giants don't use the tree in order to escape the great Noah's flood. Now take a look at this right here.
This is a giant tree cut down by the angels. God made multiple giant trees like this.
Wow.
But he had to cut them down because he was going to flood the earth. And the angels and the giants were going to try to hide on these trees. So therefore he had to cut them down with angels. And that's what he did.
The Nephilim are mysterious beings mentioned in the Bible, particularly in the book of Genesis. They are described as giants and mighty warriors who lived long ago. According to Genesis 6, 1-4, the Nephilim appeared on earth when the sons of God had children with human women. These sons of God are often thought to be angels, though interpretations vary. The Nephilim are described as heroes of old and men of great fame. Their existence was one of the reasons God decided to send the great flood to cleanse the earth, as humanity had become corrupt and filled with violence. After the flood, there are a few other mentions of giants in the Bible, such as Goliath, who fought David. The story of the Nephilim is intriguing and raises many questions about the ancient world, divine beings, and human history. While the details remain unclear, the Nephilim continue to be a subject of fascination and debate among scholars and believers.
Who were the Nephilim? Were they angel-human hybrids, or a warning wrapped in metaphor? Can we rely on the Book of Enoch to understand these creatures? And were these primordial giants actually responsible for the flood in Genesis? It's dusk on the primeval plains. Thunder rumbles low and unnatural tension fills the air. The descendants of Adam and Eve occupy the still infant earth. Then, a shadow from the heavens approach. The Watchers, heavenly beings who became known as fallen angels, descended from heaven, enticed by the daughters of men. According to Genesis and the Book of Enoch, these Watchers mated with human women. Either by force, coercion, or affection, we aren't sure. But we do know that from this unnatural union emerged powerful, terrifying offspring, the Nephilim.
Enoch tells you that the first generation Nephilim would only live for 500 years, and that they were to kill each other off in a massive civil war that their parents had to watch. This 500-year civil war that Enoch writes about is what the Greeks later stylized and what became known as the Clash of the Titans. When they were killed off in the Civil War, their spirits went out and became wandering spirits. They lost their physicality. They're looking for bodies again. In this state, they were and are demonic entities. So what happened next? I believe they started this process of the genetic manipulation that we read about in Joshua 4:18 and Jubilee 7:24. They started to create host bodies for their spirits to go into. And those animal-human chimera may have been similar in characteristics to their fathers.
Genesis chapter 6 says that the sons of God saw that the daughters of men were pleasing to the eyes and slept with them. And that these created men of renown. And that's the word Nephilim.
Ah, there it is.
So the trickiness of this is that in ancient Judaism, when it's translated in other languages, Nephilim is almost exclusively translated as giants. But the word, etymologically in Hebrew, Nephal, literally means to fall.
And it seems like this divine bloodline is being carried on by some divine beings in the ancient civilization named the Nephilims. And the Bible already states that Nephilims are known to be the giants that were created by the fallen angels who slept with human women, and they bore children who were half angels and half humans. So they apparently possessed many different kinds of supernatural intelligence about life and this planet Earth. And there's this book named Illuminati Bloodline, which was written by Fritz Springmeier, and inside this book we have 13 families that seems to have carrying the divine bloodlines of the ancient civilization called the Nephilims. And according to the theory, some people say that they are the organization called the Illuminati, the ones that work in the shadows and control the entire world, according to the agenda that they want humankind to follow.
What happened to their bones? I mean, they couldn't have just disappeared. Well, this leads me to this huge conspiracy, which says these bones were not lost, but rather repurposed, since they were too big for any animal. The theory is that they were used to create or complete dinosaur fossils, which just blows my mind. Because if we just found giant human skeletons all the time, then of course everyone would immediately believe in the Bible. But the devil is a liar, and he doesn't want us to believe. See, dinosaurs aren't even mentioned in the Bible. So instead of giants, there would be giant monsters. And as the world calls these Nephilim fantasy, we now call these dinosaurs reality.
Another significant point of intersection between the accounts of the Anunnaki and the Nephilim concerns the role these beings play as transmitters of knowledge and power. In ancient Mesopotamian civilizations, the Anunnaki are described as those who brought humanity the first technologies and skills that allowed the flourishing of the first great civilizations. According to Sumerian, Akkadian, and Babylonian texts, it was these superior beings who taught humanity the secrets of agriculture, writing, mathematics, and even the laws that would structure societies. In many ways, they were not only spiritual guides, but also masters of human knowledge, whose intervention enabled the advancement of human civilizations. On the other hand, in the Book of Enoch, the fallen angels who also descended from heaven play a similar role. They reveal to humans secrets that were previously hidden. These teachings include metallurgy, the art of warfare, and even practices of sorcery, which, according to the text, eventually corrupted humanity and introduced destructive practices.
The Nephilim, as we already talked about 2 weeks ago, they were the hybrid demonic offspring of watchers, fallen angels, who saw the daughters of men were beautiful and came into them and produced children. So you have angels that rebelled against God. They fell from heaven in a great cosmic war. The archangel Michael cast them down to the earth. These fallen rebellious angels now attempting to pervert the messianic line, right, underneath the command of Lucifer.
The angels didn't fall for love, and it wasn't lust either. They came to earth with a plan to create a new race not made by God, but by them. They took human women and gave birth to the Nephilim. These weren't accidents. They were experiments meant to corrupt the bloodline, rewrite creation, and replace what God had made. When God decided to end it all, the fallen begged for mercy, but not from God. They went to one man, Enoch. Plead for us, they said. Ask God to forgive us. But Enoch looked at them and said, it's too late now. The judgment has already been decided. There was no mercy, no escape. What came next is written in the Book of Enoch. Click the link on your screen to get the Book of Enoch now. This is the part they never wanted you to read.
The Bible also says that in the antediluvian period, the sons of God mingled with the daughters of men. It is true that some interpreters argue that this meant a mixture between spiritual beings and humans. In other words, supposedly fallen angels had relationships with women on earth. But most scholars agree that the interpretation that best fits the biblical text is that this mixture was human degeneration promoted by relationships between godly and ungodly people, so that rapidly ungodliness prevailed and characterized the entire civilization. This means that at that time the godly lineage of Seth was the branch of humanity that preserved the knowledge of God. But over time this lineage mixed with the ungodly lineage of Cain, and spiritual depravity reached an intolerable limit. At that time, there were Nephilim on earth. Some scholars argue that the Nephilim were giants born from the mixture of the sons of God and the daughters of men. But many other Old Testament scholars believe that it is more likely that the Nephilim were mighty men and of great renown in antiquity, and that they exerted dominance through acts of tyranny, further escalating humanity's measure of sin.